Hello, I got my inspiration for my infographic project from this website called MapStack. MapStack allows you to um, make different layers on a single map, so you can adjust different layers, kind of like if you're using Photoshop, and you can get a map of any place and make it any size that you want. Okay, so I chose Goleta, and then you can pick from the different layer styles. And you can add layers. And once you have your map the way that you want it, you can play around with it and make it into a file that you can then upload into Photoshop. So I really liked all the different things that you could do with this program, but I wanted to keep it pretty simple. So this was my first try at a map of where I spent most of my time in Isla Vista over a 1 week period. So I tried to make it simple by using font that wasn't too crazy. Um, some of the things that I did have to change about this was making sure that it wasn't all uppercase, changing this font so it didn't look too much like a army print, changing the color of the arrows. I think the red is a little bit too bright for that and kind of takes away from the actual information. Another comment I got was that some of the font sizes were a little bit arbitrary. So in my next draft, I tried to make only 3 different sizes of font. So I'd have home the biggest, class and work are both pretty much the same amount of time, and then the other 2 or 3 hour chunks were a third smaller size down. This version I use points for the actual places where I was, as suggested on my Flickr photo. And I also included some extra shapes, extra layer shapes, and changed the opacity to try to make the font stand out a little bit more. I think a strength of my project is that it's pretty easy to see exactly where I was and kind of see my schedule in a different way than it would usually be presented. A weakness of my project is there wasn't too much space to put little extra things like what I'm doing at home. Although I did put that in, I did put some of that information in the notes. There wasn't so much space on this map to include that, and I think it would have gotten a little bit busy if I did include that extra information. So I kind of had to compromise with this layout. Something I learned from this project is that I spend a lot of time at home, and although I didn't track that specific time so closely, it was more like where I was, not exactly what I was doing when I was at home. I discovered that I probably can save myself a lot of stress if I manage my time a little bit better. Maybe carve out a few more hours on campus just to study. I would have an easier time getting my homework done on time and get a lot more sleep.